Hello, welcome to my presentation on how to build a computer by yourself. First off, to building your own computer, you're going to have to pick the parts. Picking the parts is essential to building a computer because it decides on what type of computer it will be. Examples are home and office use, if you're going to be using it for Microsoft, Word, PowerPoint, things like that. Those aren't really heavy on the processing. But if you're going to be gaming on the highest quality setting, then prepare to spend some money because it's going to cost a lot of money. But there are ways to make it efficient and cheap. So the computer parts you need are a motherboard, CPU, RAM, graphics card, hard drive, disk drive, power supply, and a computer case. And that's all you need. You can get extras, you can get more than one hard drive, you can get more than one disk drive, you can get more than one graphics card in Crossfire, but that's more advanced. And when you're picking the parts, make sure you read the reviews on the products. That way you know that it's an efficient product and you're getting your money's worth. Now, buying the parts. A lot of people don't know where to go to buy the parts. They'll try to find a store locally. Your best bet when buying computer parts is to buy it online and order it. Reliable sites include Newegg, Tiger Direct, and SuperBiz. Those are all computer part sellers, and they're really reliable. Personally, my favorite is Newegg. I've used them personally on my $1,400 computer build. I spent that much on their website, and I got the products within a week. And it comes with Newegg. There is a 30-day warranty, and of course, there's the product warranty. Things to look for when you're picking a website of where to buy your computer parts. Coupon codes. A lot of the websites have coupon codes that are just freely searchable on the internet. And it could save you 25%, 10%, could get you another game, so it's worth finding, and it only takes a couple minutes to find. Rebates. Big thing with computer parts is there's usually rebates. Though it's time consuming to do a rebate, if you've ever done one, it's worth it. I did it and I made back probably $80, and that was the cost of my mouse or keyboard, so it does help. The warranty. As I said, most of the sites, including Newegg, has a 30-day or 60-day warranty, depending on where you buy it, and that covers mostly everything. That's if the product fails, then they will replace it at no cost to you. If anything, you'll just have to ship in the product. What you want is a good warranty that will last probably more than 60 days. You'll probably have to pay, the default is 30, and if you want more, you're probably going to have to pay more. There are certain products that you want warranties on more than others, and that includes all moving parts, such as the hard drive, the disk drive, the graphics card, or even though the CPU doesn't have any moving parts, in some cases that's a $400 product and it might be worth paying an extra $50 for an extended warranty. Now, putting it together. So you ordered all the parts, you received it in the mail, now you actually have to put it together. And to me, it's just like Legos. You just build it. There's no exact process, but there is an easier one that I used when I built my computer, and I'm going to somewhat walk you through it. The CPU is the brain of your computer. It's probably the most expensive part, or it should be, and that goes in the motherboard. And when you buy the CPU, I forgot to say, you're going to have to decide if you want Intel or AMD, because when that happens, only certain products are compatible with others, and when you're buying the parts, make sure that everything is compatible. Otherwise, you'll order the parts get it in the mail, try to put it together, and then it fries, and you're out of luck, unless you have the warranty. So as I was saying, put the CPU in the motherboard. That's very easy enough. Simply just drop it in the motherboard and it snaps in. You're going to have to apply thermal paste, which is a cooling paste that keeps the CPU actually cool. And it's sandwiched between the CPU and the heatsink. And it's worth buying a good CPU heatsink, because if you don't, and the CPU heatsink, or the CPU cooler, because there's also a fan attached to it, if it fails and your CPU starts heating up, it'll fry. So once you apply the thermal paste, then you attach the CPU cooler. And some CPU coolers have thermal paste already applied to it, so you might not even need to deal with that. When you purchase RAM, you either got dual channel or triple channel memory, and that means there's either 2 or 3 RAM sticks. But what I found out, you don't want to put in all the RAM sticks before, when you put it together initially. Only put in 1 RAM stick. I could not get my computer started for a while, and I could not find the problem to it. And I read only have 1 RAM stick when you're setting up the BIOS, which I'll talk about later, and it just started booting up. At this point, once you have those parts on, you can put the motherboard into the case, as long as the rivets in the case are already pre-prepared, because that's what separates the motherboard from the case. And if you don't, it'll cause a shortage in the motherboard. Now, the power supply. You want a good power supply if you're having heavy-duty machinery put into your computer. Power supplies usually range from, for a medium performance computer, 600 to 800. Mine is a 750, and it's a high performance, and it's enough to power it. And then some. I'll be able to attach more accessories to it. So insert the power supply into the case, and that's as easy enough as finding out where it is in the case. In the older desktops, it would be placed at the top, and nowadays you find it at the bottom, which is more easy and accessible. Insert the hard drive and disk drive into the necessary compartments, which are towards the front of the computer. And most of the time, if you have a quality case, it usually just slides in, and that's the case with the hard drive. With the disk drive, you usually have to screw it in to create noise reduction. Insert the graphics card into the motherboard. You don't want to do that before you put the motherboard in the case, because the graphics card actually, there's a slot where it comes out the back, and that's basically where you attach your monitor to, directly into the graphics card. Most people don't know that. So you want to do that last. Then you're going to need to plug in all the necessary cables to the power supply or the motherboard. This is a really tedious process, so you're going to want to look at your manuals for your case, your power supply, and the parts that you're actually connecting at the time. It uses Molex adapters. The power supply usually uses that, and the disk drive and the hard drive will plug into the Molex adapters, but it can be overwhelming if you're not used to so many wires. And lastly, once your computer is all built and together, you're going to have to run the BIOS, which is what happens when you first start it up. And it's basically software built into your motherboard. You don't have an operating system yet. Your computer is not a Mac, it's not a Windows. Right now it's nothing. The BIOS is where you set up the operating system. You're going to open up the disk drive, insert the disk. Depending on if it's Windows or Mac, you're going to just install it. And it's really simple to do. And once you have that, you can really just start using your computer. But if you want to make sure your computer won't die 60 days later, you're going to want to do a stress test, and that means running the computer to full performance for probably 24 to 48 hours. That way if it does die, it'll die within the warranty date, and you'll know it's not your fault, it's because of the faulty product. So it's going to die eventually, but you sped up the process, so it's within the warranty date. Excuse me. So it's worth stress testing your computer. Do that first before you install anything on it. And like what that actually does is it runs your CPU to its full potential, 100%, as well as the RAM. So you want to do that. Alright, thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope now you guys order your own parts and build your own computer. Thank you.